Hello, good morning. Welcome to Morning Call for Monday, the 16th of September 2019. I'm Fab, I'm in Hamburg, and I'm here with the tech news. Sorry, I wasn't there with the tech news on Friday. I had some very important stuff to do that just had to be done. So, happens sometimes. Life of a freelancer. Um, right, but it doesn't seem like a lot was happening on Friday anyway. Also, the weekend was pretty quiet. I got a good docket now, but it's been after the Apple event and everything, it's been cooling off a little bit. Although we're coming down from summer now, so that it should there should be regularly more stuff now that the summer lull's over and autumn is here and the nights are getting cold and people are staying in again. So what do we got? Julian Assange, will stay in prison. It seems. Originally, he would have be released on the 22nd of September, which when his original prison sentence would have been over, including the time basically he was in the embassy. Or I think they were excluding. Didn't think they. I don't think they added that to it. But anyway, he would have been released. But there's an extradition request, as we know, by the U.S. And that hearing is on the 25th, or that starts on 25th of February 2020. A judge decided that he will have to stay in prison until then, because as he has kind of, aptly demonstrated, he is prone to run away. That is interesting. So if he gets extradited to the US, he is they have several charges leveled against him: espionage, conspiracy with Chelsea Manning, and other things. So I think there are 18 points now, and he would, if he gets the max punishment, he would go to jail for 175 years. Yeah. Well, he was in jail in the UK now for jumping bail. So it seems like he will be in there a lot longer until that extradition hearing with the US is over. Currently don't know what's going on with the Swedish extradition hearing. We will see about that. In sharp contrast, another hearing about jail time just happened. Cody Wilson was in court in the US. This is the guy who is kind of famous for building that gun, that 3D printed gun, and putting like plans of that on the internet. Gun rights activist. He was indicted for having sex with a minor, and then ran away, I think, to Thailand. The authorities arrested him, and he got extradited to the US. He has now accepted a plea bargain, as Ars Technica reports. So he will not have to go to jail. He'll be a registered sex offender. He'll have to pay fines, 475 hours of community service. And he will be monitored during his probation. Ars Technica says during his probation period, his keystrokes will be monitored. Wow. He will not be allowed to possess firearms, cannot drink alcohol or use narcotics. And he must inform the court if he has children during that time. That is pretty much not life. I mean, you might as well be going to jail. Like, they're monitoring your keystrokes, and you can't drink alcohol. I think I'd shoot myself. Well, can't have a gun, so have to like stab yourself or electrocute yourself in a bathtub. That's not good. Of course, his former companies, Defense Distributed and Ghost Runner Incorporated, have cut ties long ago. He will, however, not have to go to prison. The felony he was indicted for would have had a max penalty of 20 years in prison. And so this whole thing is a bit like, so he maintained that he didn't know that the girl he was having sex with was underage, based on the fact that he had picked her up on a website called sugardaddymeet.com, where everybody who uses this has to be 18. But as Ars Technica did some research, and obviously they did little in terms of verifying that, as often with these websites. And so I don't know. The police officer investigating this said, so in their opinion, if someone mistakes their age, so the girl's age, it'll be because she's younger, not older. Elifa says, wait, what was the domain again? Jonathan, sorry, what kind of domain? And now they're fighting that they're stealing each other's joke. You stole mine, you're just faster at typing. Oh no, it's their channel war and my channel now. Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Yeah, sugardaddymeet.com. So I don't know. Obviously crime. But I think he should have verified ID, which is easy to do. But also, on the other hand, like they were reading a statement by the mother in court, and all true, but that she was afraid of the guy because of his history, and she was saying, life is shattered. And so I would take pictures of her, so the daughter, every time she left my car in the months leading up to the case, just in case I had to ID what she was last wearing. I mean, who the fuck even does shit like that? I mean, come on. And then obviously, like, if you sign up to a website like this, you're not innocent either way. Like, neither the guy nor I mean, if you're underage and you sign up to a website like this, I mean, well, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, by the domain alone, it's pretty obvious what's going on there. Jonathan MH says, remember, kids, don't screw the minors. Well, if you're actually a kid, if you're also a minor, it's not that bad. But yes, don't do that. If you order hookers and they look pretty young, verify ID. So that's life advice from Morning Call right there. Let's move on. Boeing 737 MAX is still grounded, which is pretty bad for Boeing. Really bad. I mean, this is going to lengths where they have jobs on offer. They're actually hiring people to look. So they're still producing planes. They've reduced the number of planes they're producing, but they're still producing them. And the 737 MAX now has been grounded for half a year. No planes of that type are allowed to fly, except they were initially allowed to fly empty to just move them from airports and stuff to storage. And now Boeing is still building them. They have now jobs where people maintain the planes they've just built. They're going to such lengths as... So I've missed this report here by TechSpot in June, but it's pretty amazing. They're storing the planes on the employee parking lots. In this case, a TUI one, as you can see, a German traveling company. You can see the German flag there. So as I don't know if you know this, but if they're building these planes, you get like livery options. They're painting the liveries usually in the factories. And this is why they are already painted for the airline that you want to ship them to. Some of them are, not all of them, but as you can see, they're like just stacked everywhere. And now they actually have to maintain these, of course, because like planes just sitting there, you know, you want them to still look new when you eventually ship them to a customer. I mean, the reason they're not shipping them to a customer is obviously like the customer would have to store them now. And this is all really bad. Halifa actually coming up with a great idea there. It sounds like the Berlin airport that needs to do maintenance as well. Maybe they could just store them on Berlin airport. I think that's a great idea. I mean, BER is completely open, right? The tarmac and everything is intact. They can't just use it because the buildings have like fire control problems and stuff. So I mean, they could park a lot of planes there. I think you're onto something. Johnson says, "Stop piling up garbage in the Vaterland." But I think she's onto something there. I think it's a great idea. You should probably call Boeing, and that's pretty much a hub as well. Like once they can fly again, she can probably fly them back out from there. It's not a bad idea. Speaking of flying again, so the whole thing has like a deeper problem because basically, as I've talked at length on this show. Earlier in the year, Boeing BR, you're listening, you know what to do. So, as I talked about at length, so the American government office, the FAA, that is partly responsible for this thing because they let Boeing inspect their own software, which caused this whole problem. Traditionally, all the other overseeing government bodies in the world would listen to what the FAA does. Like the FAA would have a guideline, let's say, for laptops and airplanes and when you could use them and, what batteries you can't use and stuff like that. And all the other countries would basically follow that. Now, there's now a serious question if this will happen going forward, because they are in a lot of trouble for what happened with Boeing and other of these overseeing bodies in other countries are basically saying we do not want to follow the FAA anymore without doing our own due diligence because obviously they made a mistake here. So the Boeing CEO is saying those planes are gonna fly again by November. But there are US airlines who have taken them off all the flight plans until end of December, some until end of January. And the European airline overseeing body, the EASA, is basically saying what we want to do is basically we want to run our own tests. If the FAA says they're okay, we want to run our own tests. And this obviously means 737 MAX grounded globally right now. If the FAA says we did all our due diligence, Boeing did right, they fixed the problem, planes can fly again, then they, of course, can fly in the US. So airlines could use them for interstate flights, flights within US airspace. But let's say if the Europeans say you can't fly these anymore, then they can't fly to Europe. And there's a bigger problem. So if you're flying from the US over Europe, like east to Dubai or I don't know, somewhere, Russia, whatever. Obviously, you can't fly through European airspace. So you couldn't fly through EASA controlled airspace, and that would be a huge problem. So this is why traditionally with these things, these organizations have all agreed a lot. I mean, the US can do their own thing. They're far away from everybody. They could fly their planes in their airspace, but pretty much in Europe, Asia, Asia, Australia, like the rest of the world is pretty much connected, and that'll be hard. So that's something interesting, and there's already reports. So this is a story on Heiser. It's been reported. So it's basically a DPA story, a German press agency, and they're basically saying that there's already like disagreements that weren't there before, which is an interesting development. Also, they're also talking about Airbus and how Airbus is actually gaining profits from this. I mean, Boeing is obviously losing a lot of money on this. I reported on this before on their last quarter's earnings call. They talked about this, and they're now even more damage is expected. But Airbus is actually not gaining that much money. Obviously, Airbus kind of interesting to me because I live right next to Hamburg Airport, and Airbus has their own airport here in Hamburg. I know people who work at Airbus. So big jobs here in Hamburg for that company, and they're actually not gaining as much business as you would expect, because basically there's been these two companies in the world for years, and they've basically molded against each other. So it's just basically they own all of the business, but they're also like, they're not codependent, but they're so used to each other that, you know, they're booked. Like if they build a plane, if you buy planes from them, you can't just go to Airbus and say, I want, 100 of these planes, 20 of these planes. They have customers. There are also not that many airlines, right? They have a certain amount of customers. They have certain amount of business, and this is all planned through. If you go to Airbus now and say, I want 200, I don't know, A320neo or whatever you buy, right? Then they would say, okay, yes, we can start delivering them in 3 or 4 years or something like that, because they're just booked. Boeing is booked, Airbus is booked. You can't just go from one to the other. So they're actually not actually. I don't think they're earning immediate business. Airbus is probably having a PR gain from this, because they weren't the ones that fucked up like this, and they would be doing well to not repeat Boeing's mistakes. I just read a story the other day where, like, I think the 320neo has a problem with weight distributions in certain configurations, so it's prone to tail strike. So tail strike is when a plane takes off, the moment you pitch the nose up, you have lift basically, and then you pitch the nose up, and the plane just starts ascending, which is called rotation. If you wait, I need to see where they're coming. If you take off too quickly, if you rotate too quickly, and you don't have enough lift yet, the tail, the back end of the plane might strike the tarmac, because you're lifting, you're getting off the wheels of the gears basically, but you're hitting the tarmac. It more often happens when you're landing in a wrong angle, but it can't happen during takeoff. And apparently it is a problem when there's too much weight at the back of the 320neo. So Lufthansa has started to not book the last seats in that plane, which shifts weight distribution to the front or something. I don't know. I mean, it works in Germany, but like there's other, like, in other countries where basically people, once they're seats free and they just move to other seats. I mean, that'll be like in the UK, that happens quite a lot. I don't know if you gotta be careful. If there's like fat people sitting down in the back of these Airbuses, that wouldn't be good. The Fleischgewicht, says Jonathan. Well, yeah, that's why, like, especially when planes are empty, sometimes people that don't fly much don't understand this. That stewardesses will tell people, or stewards will tell people, to just like spread out. They'll rearrange them in other seats, because you need to kind of spread out the weight of the plane, especially if it's not full. Anyway, let's move on. Here, have been going on for quite a long time about this. So I was asked in the Discord about this sim jacking thing. I hadn't seen this on Friday because, as I said, I was busy. But there's a story on Heiser. So SimJacker is apparently malware that is. I like how they have like an evil SIM card here in the picture. Looks like a tiki god. How they it's a vulnerability in certain SIM cards where you can use protocols and stuff that is built into the SIM card. So there's a SIM Alliance, and the SIM Alliance has a toolbox browser, the SAT browser, and that's in some SIM cards apparently. And you can use that to read out the IEMI number, like to, basically spy on people. You apparently can open websites, so you might install spyware. I don't know if this is for real. So this is based on a report by Adaptive Mobile Security, which I've heard from before, but they're not one of the big guys. It could be possible that they're blowing this out of the water. I have some red flags when I read the story, and also the story on Heiser, where they're saying it's in use in a lot of countries with this many million users, but they don't say which countries. And they say it's been used in spying in certain countries, but they're not saying which countries. Of course, the first thing where that is in use, you could research that. I didn't do that because I didn't write the story. But I've seen this report on Heiser. I haven't seen it been written up on many other sites. Might be down to the fact that those colleagues are doing a bit more research and just asked maybe the company, and they're not getting back with specific information or something. Yeah, I would be skeptical. I'm quite sure that they discovered something. Usually, security companies that are in business, of course, they're not making this shit up. But quite often they are blowing this a bit out of proportion. Sometimes this happens, especially with smaller companies, because they want PR. And they will not be downright lying, but they're kind of misrepresenting some facts or showing them in a different light. This is when you need a lot of research and you need to ask other sources. Sometimes that is hard. Sometimes you just don't have access to that. I don't know. I'll keep an eye on the story. If it crops up on other stuff, I'll be talking about it. I would definitely keep it. If you're interested in security, I'd keep it in mind. I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about my SIM cards. Also, if that is true, there's not really anything you can do. This, as Heiser correctly points out, this is down to mobile providers to fix this. Apparently, the SIM Alliance has been contacted. And yeah, they want to show more details in October on the security conference virus bulletin. So I'll definitely keep an eye on that. Yeah, and so there's a coordinated vulnerability disclosure program of the GSM Association. Apparently, they know about this as well. So we'll see. A little bit of not as much information as I would want on this. I got a few hilarious stories to go out here. Just, I like to do that, especially on a Monday. Give you some happy thoughts to go into the weekend. Bit of a laugh. So if you're in the UK, you might not be laughing about this though. The UK registry for internet domains, the biggest one, Nominet, which basically looks after .co.uk domains. 2 years ago, or a bit earlier, but so really started 2 years ago, came up with the idea of selling everybody .uk domains, because .co.uk is obviously weird. And so we want to sell people .uk domains. Turned out not many people actually wanted UK domains, because basically, yes, .co.uk is weird, but we've had it for years and decades and whatever, and people just got used to it. And if you're in the UK, you just assume that a website is .co.uk. Just the register where I got the story from is the register.co.uk. So if you're in the UK, you tell somebody, hey, go to this website called The Register. They'll be typing in theregister.co.uk. Nobody would ever get the idea to type theregister.uk. It's just weird. To somebody living there, that just sounds weird. So nobody wanted these addresses. So Nominet had the idea, okay, let's do this. Everybody has a .co.uk domain. So you have this registrar organization like Nominet, and then you have the actual registrars, right, where you would go to register domains. And so they went to the registers and said, well, just don't, you can have these UK for free for 2 years. So anybody who wants a .co.uk domain can get these for free for 2 years. Mostly also so there's no cyber squatting. So, people wouldn't go and register the register.uk and then piss the register off. And now what happened, two big registrars, 123reg and Namesco, I don't even know, let me... Namesco? I just want to look that up. I want to know if that's my registrar. Names.co.uk. Okay, probably not. So I'll let you know. I obviously buy a lot of domain names, and I have for years I've been using Namecheap. Been very happy with them. I want to know if they belong to names.co. Let me see. Let's do some research here. Affiliates. That's probably something else. Terms and conditions. Let's see if they belong to Namesco. They don't say. Anyway, it's not that important. I just wanted to look into that. Anyway, so Namesco and sorry for that, getting derailed here. Namesco and 123reg did this thing. Okay, so every one of our customers who has a .co.uk domain, we will register them to prevent domain squatting. We will register them for free their UK domains. Right, so if you have the register.co.uk, you also get the register.uk for free for 2 years. And now, of course, lots of these registrars have a thing called auto-renewal, because if you forget to renew a domain, then somebody can squat it. So they have this service where you put your credit card number in, and they will renew it automatically. Now, it seems that people had auto-renewal on, didn't know, because they didn't tell them, or not really well 2 years ago or whatever, didn't tell them sufficiently that they'd registered these domains, that these people now 2 years later started getting renewal emails for domains that they had not registered. And saying, what kind of scam is that? And as the register points out, so is this a scam? And if not, what on earth is going on? The short answer is yes, yes, it's a scam of sorts, but one that is wholeheartedly approved by the organization that's supposed to oversee the UK's internet space, Nominet. And then they go into explaining this thing. I just thought that was a hilarious story. Even if Namecheap belongs to Names.co, I didn't get any auto-renewal because I don't own any .co.uk domains currently. I own a lot of domains, but none of those. Another hilarious story is, of course, Apple at their Apple event announced the new iPad. It's big. It's 10.2 inches. On the previous iPads, you could get Microsoft Office tools for free. Now you don't anymore, because, and get a load of this. There's a rule that you get the free Office tools on devices up to a screen size of 10.1 inch. The iPad being 10.2, so 0.1 inch too much, have to pay. It's like 70 euros, I think. Is that a year? I don't know. Golem's not saying. At least 70 euros. Office 365. I think that's a year, right? That would be a bit much a month, but I don't know. So you need an Office 365 subscription for 0.1 inch. So the previous biggest iPad was 9.7. That's huge, by the way. Oh, God. How do you hold that? Like, I wonder why it's 10.1 inch. There must be like a Surface device or something that's like the cutoff. Jonathan says, screams in vendor lock lunacy. Well, Microsoft giving you free Office. It's also not really vendor lock because you can use the Apple Office products that are on the iPad for free. So I guess Apple just didn't care. I mean, they must have known when they designed that iPad. They must have known. I think they just decided not to care, or maybe they actually care and do want to push people to their own products. Who knows? But I thought that was hilarious. 0.1 inch. That's tiny. Yeah. That's like nothing. And Microsoft, by the way, has confirmed this to Golem. So they're saying, yeah, that's the point. And then Nintendo is going back to Crazy Town. They have a new controller for the Switch, which is called the Ring-Con. It sounds like a convention. So it's like a fitness thing, and it's a crazy ring device that you put the controllers in, and then you do crazy shit. Now, Eurogamer says this is great because it's a step back to the crazy times of the Wii, and they thought Nintendo was always at their best when they were crazy. Speaking of crazy, look at this. So if you listen to the podcast, you might have to look up this video on YouTube, sixgun.tv. Just look at this guy. Look at his face. Like, I think he's supposed to be happy. That is not happy. He looks like a mass murderer. And look at her. She's like, I think they're supposed to be happy, and they're not. They're like, they're both like, look at how he looks at her. He looks like he wants to eat her. And she's like, hide the pain, Harold. She's like, hey, yeah, I'm happy. I'm totally happy about this sports device. And then you have this. Oh, sorry, let's go back. So you have this ring, right? And you have the two controllers, and then why is that? What animation was that? That looked like a dildo flopping. Holy just look at that animation of the text that comes in. The fuck? And then you have you put the one Wii controller in the ring and the other one in this holster that you put on your leg. And then you obviously they have motion sensors. Jonathan says, why does it get strapped to the legs? Well, I mean, maybe it was the 50th take, says Alifat. Could be. But also, that doesn't... Look at her. It's like, it's just... I think it's just painful to have to shill such a product. And he just, it doesn't matter what take that looks like. Is that holster there to do sex tracking? That whole thing looks like just weirdly sexual. You really have to watch this video, otherwise this doesn't make any sense. But the guy looks like he eats people. He looks like in that IT Crowd episode, there's this German cannibal guy. That's what he looks like. Okay, and then of course they made this new game. Well, because that went so well for the Wii, right? So for the Wii, they really used these sports. Everybody bought it, but nobody used it. So I guess it's great for them because everybody bought it. But what? Look at what is this shit? If I want to go running, I'll just buy shoes and go running. I don't need a fucking... This is like a nightmare world. This is like somebody who had the mission. It's like as if somebody in Nintendo had the... Holy shit. Had the mission to make something where when you use it, you look more ridiculous than people with a VR headset. I mean... Red Hoplin. Do a squat. You have to fight the Red Hoplin. You have to do a squat to fight the and then the Green Hoplin. It's adventure. The Green Puffer Squish. You have to hold like this. You have to do a thigh press to attack the end. Yes, go outside like a normal person. Yeah, just fucking go outside. I mean, I don't do these exercises because I don't like exercises, but this is not going to get me to do. I mean, I have a Switch now. I'm not going to buy this. Just look at this. She's like the best looking model you could get for something like this, and she looks ridiculous. Like, if a beautiful person like her looks ridiculous doing this shit, just imagine what you fat slob nerd like me is gonna look like, even if nobody sees me. I don't want to see myself doing this shit. Level 5, you did 5 bench presses. What is this? How long is this? This is 7 minutes long. This is a nightmare. This is what hell looks like. At least some of these people look like they're actually having fun. They're actually, I think, good actors. Not like the two presenters. I mean, nobody's gonna do that at parties, seriously. I mean, you dress up at parties, right? You drink wine and beer. You're not gonna do sweaty. No, people will not be cheering you while you do this. They will not be laughing. No, I don't know. Euro, oh god, not that guy again. Okay, I have to stop this video now. So Eurogamer, what is this? Martin Robinson, feature and reviews editor. I'd say there's been nothing like it before, but that'd be a lie. The ring-con is, to put it bluntly, a Pilates ring, and it's not as introducing fitness devices like this entirely unprecedented in the world of video games. And then he talks about Wii Fit. Why does he even know what a Pilates ring is? Ring Fit Adventure is the name of the game, bundled with the Ring-con. The real price was the adventure itself. A fully featured RPG that, if I'm told, could take you months to see through to the end if you pick it up for 30 minutes a day. Yeah, but it's dumb. It looks dumb. Okay, so Martin Robinson, here's the picture. I'm looking forward to finding out how Nintendo's new device can slot into my everyday life, and as someone who loves some of the company's more outlandish inventions and who could definitely afford to lose a few pounds, I'm all for it. The Switch has delivered a fine succession, blah, 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 blah. So I can tell you how this goes, Martin. You're gonna buy this thing, right? You're gonna play for it for like 2 Sundays, and then you figure out that it's dumb, it's annoying, and that you actually don't want to do any exercise, and then you're going to put it in a cupboard, and it will never see the light of day again. Change my mind. So we get a cupboard. Change my mind. They should replace jail with this, completing that RPG. Esky says, Jonathan, we should stream it to shame people. Boom, yeah, that's you guys have better ideas. the app's shield. What the fuck? Yeah, this is ridiculous. But I thought that was fun. Anyway, I've got a very long show here. This is like we're like 40 minutes in. Anyway, it was just fun today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. If you buy this Ring-con and it's the greatest thing ever, and you want to change my mind, feedback at sixgun.org. Also, the Six Gun Discord channel. You can go there and yell at me how I'm wrong. But I will have to see video proof of you playing that RPG at home. Anyway, see you tomorrow with more tech news. Until then, I leave you with some words of wisdom of Jonathan from the chat here. Go outside! Goodbye.